As always, it's been a very busy month in social media, and today I must admit we are slightly meta heavy. So we've very much gone for some of the big meta updates across platforms like Facebook, Threads, and of course, Instagram. So we've got lots to tell you about today, and then I wanted to share some content ideas, particularly for Halloween, that you could certainly be thinking about filming over the next few days. So let's get straight into it then with our first update of the month. You may have heard about this one. It was reported widely in the news recently, but Facebook and Instagram is to offer a new ad-free subscription to users, and that will cost £2.99 a month. So this basically means that anyone who decides to opt in and pay this fee will be not shown any ads on Facebook or Instagram. So this is quite an interesting new offering. It's very much unknown whether people will go for this or not. My gut feeling is saying it's not going to be as popular as maybe some people are predicting it to be. I hear, obviously, on the ground, a lot of people talking to me about their experiences of Facebook and Instagram. And a lot of people say Instagram ads are actually really useful for gift ideas, for kind of retargeting. If you're thinking about buying something, it's like a reminder to buy it. So, actually, I think a lot of people find them quite useful. But of course, those people that never click on them, never engage with them, and just frankly don't like to see online advertising may well be the sorts of people who will sign up. I'm quite surprised at the low cost, 2.99, and I do wonder if that will increase over time. Maybe this is a bit of a launch fee. The subscription is more expensive on iOS and Android. So if you pay for it through your phone, it will be $3.99 a month. So the idea is that if you want that low cost $2.99 a month, you would need to set that up on the web first. And this is for users over the age of 18. So it's only available to people over the age of 18 because, of course, they're the ones who are being targeted with ads. When someone subscribes, their personal data will not be used to show them ads. And so I suppose this is kind of this move towards people now having to pay for their data not to be used, which is interesting. I remember years ago going to a Google conference in London, and one of the speakers, who was an exec at Google, said, in the future, we'll have to pay to big tech platforms not to use our data. And I found that absolutely mind blowing, but interesting to see here in 2025, it's actually happening. Of course, for those who choose not to use this new service, they will continue to see ads on the platform as they have done normally. So, will this take off? Who knows? But this is going to be rolling out, and so you might see a notification crop up to ask you if you would like to subscribe to this. Our next update today is really around Threads. It's interesting to see how Threads and X are battling it out in terms of daily active users. And this new report from SimilarWeb have shown us that actually it looks like Threads is beginning to exceed X on some days around daily active users. This data is not definitive, it's based on estimates extrapolated from its available pool of resources. So it's not absolutely set in stone, but it's an interesting trend to keep an eye on. Social Media Today reported that SEMrush suggests that X is seeing around 123 million website visits per month, while X is claiming that it's seeing 250 million. So X is actually claiming that they're getting double the users of what these third-party tools are reporting. So very suspicious figures coming from X there. Despite the discrepancies, though, SimilarWeb estimates that generally Threads is on track to overtake X in average users in the near future. Now, we've been discussing with many of our members around the use of X and whether or not it is still a valid platform to be on. And those of our members that are still using it tend to be very much plugged into either news, politics, or sports. Those are kind of the three areas that I think people are still very much looking at the platform for. Other than that, it is hard to get reach and engagement on X now, particularly in Europe. It isn't the platform it once was. Whereas if we look over on Threads, we are beginning to see more and more people keeping their Threads profiles up to date, particularly SMEs. So we're seeing a lot of fantastic small to medium-sized enterprises, particularly here in the UK, using Threads as a platform to either cross-post content that they've maybe publicized elsewhere, for example, on Instagram, or they're really leaning into the platform and are using it for more unique content, like a text-based post where they're maybe sharing a bit of behind the scenes thoughts or opinions. And it's interesting to see that those sharing unique content on the platform are generally attracting more engagement and more followers. So it's certainly a platform to consider. And I think for now, we've always said have a profile, particularly if you're on Instagram. It's really easy just to set up a separate Threads profile, maybe cross post some of your existing content and just see what the traction is. If we look in these examples, Martha Brooke, the lovely stationery brand, are really leaning into Threads using text-based posts, adding links to products. If you look at the next example, we've got the chef and recipe developer, Beth Adamson, using link in bio here to drive more people back to the website, cross-posting directly from IG. We've got the Grove Hotel cross-posting videos because videos now also work well on Threads. And also Jess Hoffman here, again, recipes, healthy recipes, using links as well. So links to recipes. So if you got that kind of 5 minutes extra just to cross-post over to Threads, it certainly might be worth a test. Now, if we look at larger brands on Threads, you can see that they are much more focused on engagement around current topics. So they're trying to appear very relatable. We've got brands like Calm, Anthropologie, Aldi, Hootsuite, Secret London, talking very much like old style Twitter, where you kind of comment about popular culture, for example, Celebrity Traitors, which is everywhere at the moment and getting huge ratings. And of course, commenting on that makes your brand look relevant. It gives people an opportunity to engage with you about a shared interest. So it helps you to stand out. So I do think this is a really nice technique to use. And for those of us that have been working in the social media industry for a long time, you'll remember that this very much was what early days Twitter was all about. So interesting to see Threads has kind of replaced that hole in the market, that gap for that commenting on what's happening in pop culture. And I think we'll only see that increase across 2026. So onto Instagram, and one of the big updates that was shared recently was actually, I think, a very, very useful tool that is soon about to launch. This is called Shareable Insights for its video editing app, Edits. So if you're using Edits, which is an app that came out back in April for editing Reels, you can also edit video on there that you then intend to post to YouTube Shorts or TikTok as well, but technically it was built for Reels. Then you will be able to export insights about your account and specific media, so specific posts that you've done, as a PDF. Now, this is incredibly interesting for creators. So if you're a content creator and you're looking to work with brands, being able to export your insights into a PDF and just email that or DM that to the brand that you're speaking to is incredibly valuable. And as a brand, you'll be able to ask for this. So gone are the days where you're kind of umming and ahhing about whether or not to work with an influencer or a content creator and looking at just figures like their followers or their kind of reels views. You'll actually be able to get insights such as their total reels views, how many accounts they're able to reach, their likes, comments, shares, saves, and more. So I think this feature is really significant and it will enable creators to build their media kits much more easily and share that performance data. We work a lot with hospitality, restaurants, hotels, bars, and actually having this shareable insights PDF is going to be gold dust for our clients because they can easily see which creators they want to collaborate with or not. So look out for this new feature that should be rolling out very soon, and that feature is only available in edits. So you do need to be using edits. I'm not sure why they didn't put it into Instagram itself, but look out for it as one of those features of edits. Another Instagram update for us here, and this is something that again has been spreading around Instagram recently. More and more users are gaining access to this algorithm control feature. So this is currently a test that Instagram is rolling out to see if people want to do this. But this feature gives you the opportunity to have a bit more control over your algorithm, to manage what you see, what you don't see, and to help the content that is being served to you be better matched with what you're interested in. So this is a move from Instagram, I think, to be a bit more transparent about how the algorithm works and to allow people to shape their feeds and their experiences. We've all kind of moaned about the algorithm where maybe you've done a bit of research into a gift or a holiday, and then you go back into Instagram and all you're seeing is that product or things relating to that product. Really frustrating if you're a social media manager and you're researching a particular client, and then all you see is that particular client interests and themes in your feed. So this allows you to be much more intentional about what you want to see more of and what you want to see less of. So it is a test, and obviously those kind of topics are AI created. So you can't actually type out, I want to see more golf or I want to see less jewelry. But those topics are kind of preloaded for you. So we're going to see kind of how that fits, and I'm sure we'll get some feedback from users who've seen that test. If you've got that test, let us know in the chat. We'd love to see what you think about it. But the feature should at least address some user concerns around algorithmic manipulation. Because of course, if you're just seeing one thing all the time, then people call it, the Instagram bubble, where you are just seeing the same sort of content regularly. Let's have a quick look at how this test does appear. So you can see very much kind of AI driven. So you can actually type out topics and see if they appear as kind of preloaded ones, but they have to exist as a topic already. But really interesting to see that this kind of more control over your feed is something that Instagram is going to be more focused on for 2026. And I think this does fit with some of the PR that we've seen recently from Instagram, particularly around teen accounts and supporting the mental health of younger users as well. So they want the app to be seen as a much more kind of safe and controlled environment. Now, this one's been causing quite a bit of a stir because Instagram have gone through a bit of a redesign. They're actually testing out a new layout. You might have seen this, you might already have it. I think a lot of people I've spoken to have it on their personal account, but maybe not their business account yet. We'll see. But you can see here Instagram is testing a new layout where Reels move to that second tab. So Reels are moving to that kind of central navigation on the tabs along the bottom. So this just proves how much video is being consumed and how being visible in that tab absolutely matters. If you want more views, if you want more reach, if you want more followers, you've got to be using Reels. They're also testing DMs in the main tab as well. So DMs have always traditionally been on the top right-hand side. You have to kind of go to that top corner to open up your private messages, but they are moving that to central of the tab at the bottom because, of course, shares and DMs really drive the platform. That is where Adam Mosseri, head of Instagram, has said they see the most activity on Instagram in the DMs. That's where people are most chatty, they're most active, they're accessing Instagram the most, they're using it the most in DMs, which I think is something we've been talking about all year at Avocado Social, but really interesting to see how they're actually redesigning the app to support this new behavior. If your post gets shares, saves, and reposts, we know it travels further. So, a really big strategic question to ask yourselves as you go into your 2026 strategy creation is, why would someone share this post with a friend, or would they save it for later? And that's really what you want to be creating social media content for. It's that shareability and it's that savability that has become incredibly important for all engagement. So here you can see the announcement from Mosseri, really great person to follow on Threads if you're not already, also on Instagram. If you haven't already, you'll soon see the option to try new Instagram tabs. The first is still stories and feed, Reels is second, DMs is third, and you can now swipe between tabs. So that's quite a nice feature, just being able to swipe between, which I think just really improves the usability. They've been getting some really good feedback around this change. Actually, often a lot of the time when Instagram bring out a new feature, people are really negative about it. Oh, why does it have to change again? But actually, people really like this one. And I think it's because they have been really looking at user behavior this year and really testing how are people using the app, what's most important to them. And then they've designed the app around this. So this is a test at the moment. If you're trying it out, you can let Instagram know exactly what you think. Okay, a couple more Meta updates for us. So let's move into advertising. Advertising is changing a lot on Meta, and we're seeing huge increases in AI featured tools being integrated into the dashboards. So if you haven't been in the Meta Ads Manager for a while and you go back in, maybe you're setting up some Christmas campaigns, then you will find that there's a lot that's changed. There's all of these new Advantage Plus features and tools, which is the name of their AI in the Ads Manager. And they're making some of the tools that exist already redundant because they're just not needed if the AI is more powerful. So this is a tool called Automated Ads. It was kind of developed around, well, a long time. It's been available for, yeah, I would say I've seen it for at least like 8 or 9 years in the back end of Ads Manager. And automated ads essentially allowed you to instantly create multiple versions of your ads for A/B testing. It gave you recommendations. So it might say, like, oh, this image is performing well. Why don't you try it with a different background? It helped you select your audience and budget as well, sort of giving you some AI-driven suggestions. It also looked at campaign tracking metrics and helped you understand a bit more about how your ads were performing. So they are actually taking automated ads out of this dashboard. You won't have access to it in 2026. And that's because Advantage Plus just takes over all of those options. and it's a much better, more simplified and accurate generator from Meta. So this shift aligns with Meta's vision to create an ad generation platform that can build a whole campaign with minimal input, essentially a one-click option. So that's the dream from Meta, of being able to essentially allow marketers just to set up an ads campaign with like 2 or 3 clicks. But the danger, as with all AI, is that it might be doing things that are out of your control and making decisions that you wouldn't necessarily make. So I still think it's definitely important to keep an eye on exactly how those campaigns are being set up. I'll give you an example. One of my membership clients recently set up an automated campaign using Advantage Plus AI. They traditionally target females. The AI targeted quite a lot of males as part of that campaign, and therefore they didn't get the kind of valuable clicks that they would have wanted to see on the campaign. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and just made sure that manually it was only females that they were targeting with their ads. So the AI still isn't 100% reliable, and you do need to keep an eye over it and just make sure that it is making the right decisions for your ads. If you want to know more about Meta ads, we do have an upcoming workshop in November all about getting your Christmas campaigns ready. So you can take a look at the information about that upcoming workshop on our website, or just send me a message and I'll happily share the link with you. So another big update around ads on Meta, and this is a big one if you're a charity or non-profit organization. I know many of you who join our monthly membership calls do work for non-profits. So I'm sure this is something that has affected you. As of the 6th of October, in the EU, Meta decided to pull all political, electoral, and social issue adverts. So you're not allowed to run political, electoral, or social issue ads. Now, that really matters if you're a charity or nonprofit, where often a lot of your ads will have been categorized as social issue ads. So this all happened because of a new EU transparency law. It has caused major tech platforms, including Google, Meta, TikTok, Microsoft, to stop showing political ads in the EU. The idea originally was that they changed their requirements and they complied with the new requirements, but the tech companies have complained that the requirements are too complex, so they've just decided to pull all ads on the platform. This basically means if you're running ads around things like migration, climate change, social justice, human rights, or any initiatives that politically are sensitive or are socially divisive. So when I read that, I thought straight away, Greenpeace and their ads, or anything where you're trying to campaign to get signatures, a petition, for example. So that is the sort of campaigns that Meta are now saying they're not going to support. Your ad doesn't even need to be overtly political to get flagged. Every single word or image linked to a current news topic could cause a rejection. So this is very, very frustrating. These are now off. What has happened is, if you are running social issue ads, you do have to re-verify your ad account. So that has happened to one of our membership clients at Avocado Social. We've had to re-verify the account, just go through some security checks with Meta. And then what they will be doing is they're going to be, I think, very, very sensitive about the sorts of ads that we can run. So they're going to be looking at all of the copy used in the ads, and they're going to be looking for any sensitive terminology. And if something doesn't kind of apply to the new legislation, they will reject that ad. They're also looking at landing pages. So even if you don't say anything sensitive in your ad, but you send traffic to that landing page, which is deemed sensitive, that could be rejected, because of course Meta scans your landing pages as well. I would suggest testing multiple versions of your copy and creative to see what gets through and what doesn't. And of course, I would be thinking about building really strong email lists and really pushing your owned data, because that's the way to get out more of these kind of politically sensitive or social issue themes. So it might be that you use your meta ads just simply to bolster your email marketing lists, and then you use email to send out those campaigns. So lots going on in the world of Meta. The platforms criticize the law for having a too broad definition of political advertising. Campaigners say the law will cause a harmful loss of information after it triggered companies, including Google, Meta, and Microsoft, to implement a blackout on political advertising. Politicians on both sides of the aisle say that it could be detrimental to democratic debate. So we will see if this changes, but at the moment it is a blanket ban. I posted about this on my LinkedIn profile last week. I shared a few kind of tips, which I've just mentioned there, things like auditing your current ads, reviewing your landing pages, testing multiple creatives and ads is really important as well. So if you do know somebody that is running ads as a charity, or you know someone that perhaps is running political ads or planning to on Meta, definitely share this news with them. It's really important. It's EU wide, so it doesn't affect the US or any other countries outside of the EU, but it does affect the UK. Obviously, I know we're not in the EU, but we are kind of classed alongside this particular regulation as well, because we mirror a lot of the EU privacy laws here in the UK. If you've got any questions about that, feel free to ping me an email. I'll be sharing my contact details with you all in just a few moments' time. On to the next update. And one of the things that actually surprised me was that Facebook are bringing back local jobs. So this was actually, jobs were kind of pulled from the platform for a few years now. And they've just kind of brought them back on the 13th of October. The initiative is designed to introduce new ways for young adults, and this is in the US, to find local entry, trade, service, industry job opportunities in their community. I guess what they're doing is testing it with a quite a small audience. I say small, the US is not small. They're testing it with the US first, seeing if it does kind of pick up some of their kind of, maybe make ground on some of their competitors like LinkedIn or Indeed. All listed jobs are public and visible to adults aged 18 and over. And these jobs will appear in Marketplace, on a business page, or in the Meta Business Suite as well. So those are areas where you can create your jobs if you are an employer. So you can promote those through Marketplace, on your business page on Facebook, or you can set those up in the Meta Business Suite. So interesting to see kind of jobs maybe being a way to pull back younger users to Facebook. Facebook are on a big mission at the moment to bring back the younger audiences. So the fact that they are kind of targeting entry level, first job, trade level style jobs, I think is really, really interesting there. This is just quite a small update, but actually I just wanted to flag it. If you are running LinkedIn ads, then I'm so pleased that this change has happened. So LinkedIn has a specific structure to how you create ad campaigns. And confusingly, it's slightly different to how you do it on Meta, on TikTok, on YouTube. In LinkedIn, you first of all set up what's called a campaign group. Then within that, you set up a campaign, and then within that, you set up an ad. They're ditching campaign groups, thank goodness. And they're actually just going to go with new entities starting this month, where you have your ad account, and within that, you have campaigns, ad sets, and ads. So they're mirroring exactly the same as Meta. I think the main reason is because people found them very complicated and didn't really understand what a campaign group was for. So I'm really pleased to see that, because it's, of course, in line with general ad industry conventions. So a big win if you're doing LinkedIn ads. And then final update for us today is the TikTok Awards. So the TikTok Awards in the UK and Ireland, which is partnering with headline sponsor Sky, will take place on the 13th of November. And the voting hub is now open. So you can go through and look at this big celebration of TikTok creators and make your votes. The votes close next week, next Wednesday, the 29th. So it's over to the TikTok community to vote. This is actually a brilliant resource of the greatest creators on TikTok right now. So they've got loads of different categories, from Artist of the Year, Storyteller of the Year, Entertainment Creator of the Year, Food Creator of the Year, Travel Creator of the Year. And of course, they've got sort of 6 or so people in each category. So it's just gold dust if you're looking to really bolster out who you're following on TikTok and make sure that you're following some of the best creators in the UK and Ireland. So do go and have a look at that. My colleague Sarah is about to share the link in the chat if you do want to go and have a look at that long list. There were actually tons of creators that I'd never heard of before in there, which is great to see. So it really was, perfect way for me to discover some new people to follow. And of course, if you're a brand on TikTok and you're looking to work with some new influencers, then this is a really good place to start your research. So do go and have a look. If you want to cast some votes, then that would be, I'm sure, very much well received by the creators. Let's just have a look at a few that caught our eye. So starting with Natalia here, you can see that she does some lovely recipe videos, and she's up for Food Creator of the Year.
I'm an ex-personal chef, and this is the kind of recipe I would suggest to feed a house with minimal effort and maximum flavour. It's a lemon and herb chicken and potato tray bake, and using none other than Flora Salted to get that perfect crispy skin. This is a perfect autumnal tray bake recipe for a family, especially during that going back to school time. All you have to do is bung all of the ingredients into a tray and then forget about it for 40 minutes. And you end up with some delicious crispy skin, tender chicken and juicy soft potatoes. I like to serve it with a little bit of tender stem broccoli at the end, but you could use whatever you have ready.
So lovely little video there with the voiceover, very much on trend with the kind of cutting out certain words, really removing those millennial pauses so that the audio kind of overlays and is very kind of quick, but feels very wholesome and natural at home. We've got the rugby trainer who's up for Sports Creator of the Year, Phil, who's a brilliant person to follow in the world of travel, who's up for Travel Creator of the Year. And then we quite like this video from John Murray, who's also up for Travel Creator of the Year.
This is what autumn looks like in Scotland.
Beautiful bit of ASMR there, getting us all kind of feeling autumnal there. I really like that video. So it'd be interesting to see who the winners are on the 13th of November. Okay, on to our monthly bit of fun. So this is the section where we like to highlight some of the best campaigns, funniest posts, and interesting techniques that we're seeing in social media right now. I wanted to start with actually a post which had been flagged by a social media freelancer called Millie, and I saw this on LinkedIn. It really caught my attention, this "if your childhood looked like this," and it was a TikTok carousel with just 2 slides to it. So I was very much drawn in with some of those pictures of Hannah Montana and Justin Bieber. And I thought this was a really clever way just to grab attention. But if we look at the video, it's actually a non-profit Australian organisation who is promoting cervical screening tests. So I thought that was a really great way of actually speaking to a certain socially native audience who are reminded to book a cervical screening. So if we look at Millie's post there, she says there's 2.5 million views that this post has achieved on TikTok. That's 2.5 million potential young women who have now been reminded to book a screening. That's 91.5 thousand people who've sent it to a friend to remind them to as well. So 91.5K shares. So really, really interesting to see that kind of technique being used for something a little bit more serious. Onto a competition. So this was a competition run by the wonderful bar chain, The Botanist. And they shared this in a WhatsApp group that I'm part of recently. This is a competition to win a weekend away. I definitely think this year more than any recently, I've noticed there's been such a reduction in the kind of quick social media competitions where you give away something quite low cost just for likes and follows, and much more of an increase in these high impact competitions, which are really around data collection. So The Botanist is giving away this weekend in Stockholm. Let's find out a little bit more about it.
Want to win the ultimate winter getaway? We're teaming up with Absolute to send you and a friend to Stockholm. Flights, a luxury hotel, cocktails at the ice bar, a vodka tasting, and £250 spending money. It's all included. Enter before November 18th. Good luck.
So pretty impressive 3-night trip, including all of your activities, flights, 250 quid spending money. So pretty impressive prize. What they're asking people to do is simply sign up to their email marketing list. So interestingly, the marketing manager at The Botanist shared that the last time they did this, they had, I think she said 30,000 new email addresses to their marketing lists. So really, really impressive. And such a great way just to bolster, again, your email marketing by using a social competition. So the bigger the prize, the more impressive, the more standout, and they've given people plenty of time to enter. So that is available until the 18th of November. So you can go and enter that competition there. And then finally, I'm sure you've been seeing these creeping up all over your Instagram feed and TikTok feed, but this ghost photo shoot is actually going a little bit viral at the moment. Obviously, we're a week away from Halloween, and I'm just seeing so many brands doing a bit of a ghost photo shoot, which is very lo-fi, very easy to do with some sheets and sunglasses. But it definitely feels like a bit of a trend at the moment. So if you do want to get your team together to do some fun Halloween content, then I'd certainly recommend doing something like this Sainsbury's one.
Be the only one who hears you. Tears falling down at the party. Saddest little baby in the
room. Brilliant. I tried to convince the Avocado Social team to do that at our weekly strategy meeting this week, but it wasn't so popularly received. But I'll keep trying. Okay, so we're about to open the floor to any questions. So if you do have a question about anything that we've covered today, then you are very, very welcome to ask me in the chat. So just have a think about that for the next few minutes. Of course, I do always ask on our monthly sessions, if you've enjoyed it today, then we're always looking for some fresh Google reviews. They obviously help to boost our visibility in the search engines. So do have a quick QR scan of that code. And if you've got a few minutes just to leave us a quick review and let us know what you thought of today's session, that's always so much appreciated. Thank you. What's coming up in the world of Avocado Social? Well, as I said, we've got a meta advertising masterclass happening on the 11th of November, all about getting your Christmas campaigns off the ground and making sure that those are converting for you. We've got our next free social media update happening on the 20th of November, so just under a month's time. And then we've also got an AI and social media workshop happening on the 26th of November. So those are our next 3 workshops. Of course, we'll be coming back in December as well with our annual trends talk as well. So keep an eye on out for that one. That will be completely free to attend. It's always our most popular workshop of the year, and I will be predicting the trends for 2026. So keep an eye out for that. You can check out all of our upcoming events and sign up to our emails on our website, avocadosocial.com, or just scan the QR code there.